Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Doctors and Coaches podcast. Today's topic is gamification education with Dr. CynDee Zandes.
I was mentioning to Robert before we started this recording of this broadcast, it's going to be a lot on him because I don't play games, but I do sort of. And I was thinking about that, right? I play games on my phone and I enjoy them. So one of the games that I play is a vocabulary game where it gives you, you have to fill in these words and it gives you clues. Well, I like that, right? And so I do that. So I thought, well, what is it about a game that you like? Well, I like seeing that I got points, that somebody goes, yay, when you're finished, right? So they send up all the little uh, balloons or whatever when you finish something. So I think that's part of gamification. I like it when I can see that, oh, I started on level one and I'm now on level, you know, 1412, right? That's a gamification thing. And I think kids like that as well. That's why they continue to do, what they do on games, other than that they're fun for them. I get that, right? But I think that that can be true of educational games as well. I don't think that educational games have to be boring. I think that they can be fun. And then the other thing that I like about games, so like for instance, in doing this word game, let's say that they give you a clue, and I think I know exactly what that word should be. And so I put in that word and it's not the right word. You get immediate feedback, right? You don't have to wait for a teacher to correct it. You don't have to wait for something else. It's immediate and it gets back to you. So I think that that's what's good about gamification. But I think we need to think about for ourselves. We enjoy playing games. We do. Well, what is it that you enjoy about them? Well, I enjoy it being interactive. I enjoy it being competitive. I enjoy scoring points. I enjoy working with my team. I enjoy, right? All those things that we enjoy. And if we can decide that, what is it that makes it enjoyable for us? Then ask kids, what makes it enjoyable for you? So they'll add to our list. Then when we look at gamification, we can include those things because those are the things that appeal to people. And I think that to me is the advantage of gamification over just this, straightforward fill in the blank, tell your neighbor, that kind of thing that we do over and over. So I'll be interested because I think you're probably more into the game world than me. I think you probably, play more games. And so you can speak to that more than I can. But I don't know, what is it that you like about about games and gamification and all that kind of stuff?
Um, I just feel like, it just helps. It helps the youth a lot to like either learn about like it could be like math skills or problem solving. And there's like it's you can get really creative with them. Like there could be like games that you create yourself by hand, or there are games that are already made, or they're already in the computer as well. So it's just a very wide variety of options that we have nowadays. So definitely it is my world.
Yeah, it is. The Khan Academy, have you heard of them?
Oh yes.
Okay, so the Khan Academy makes things fun, right? And it's all very interactive, and yet it's very educational. Have you had kids work on that before?
Yeah, yes, I believe I have.
It's like when they get stuck during homework, right? They can go
Yes.
and they get this immediate feedback. And I think there are places which have made that. It's not that they're not learning; they are, but it's done in a different style. It's not done in traditional, explicit, direct instruction, right? It's done in such a way that it's very, very engaging. And I think that there are other math programs and things like that where kids can go and get help with assignments and in a supportive way, not somebody just telling them how to do it, but in a supportive way. And I
I
think
agree.
gamification is here to come, right?
Oh yeah, per
And
se. Yeah.
it's here. And so I think we can either one embrace it because it's real, or we can act like it doesn't exist and pretend. But the fact of the matter is, I think that it gamification and making things a game is important. And I can tell, one of the things I was thinking about is when I was in second grade, which has been more than a year or two ago, we were going on a trip, a family trip, and we were going to Wyoming from California. And that's not just happening in an hour or two,
Yeah.
right? We're on the road. So I can remember my mom playing games with us. So one of the things that we did that she played with us was looking at drivers, our license plates, and seeing if we could do the alphabet. Right? Oh, okay. Oh,
Mm.
there's an A. Now you had to find a B, and you couldn't do it random. It had to be in order. But we spent a lot of time looking for the alphabet in order. Then she had us look for the alphabet to spell certain words, our name, our address, right? That kind of stuff. And I can remember thinking that was great fun to look at all those license plates. And I can remember asking our dad to drive slower so people had to pass us so we could see their license plate, right? Because what we wanted was to be able to do that. And I can also remember that one of the games we played was learning to say the alphabet backwards, which I can
Mm.
do. You want to hear it? CYXWVUTSRQPONMLKJIHDFEDCBA. I learned that when I was 7, right? Because it was a game and it was fun. And so I think that games have always been around. It's just that with all the technology, it's even better than it was
Oh,
before, right? It's more instant, it's more fun. If I'm in esports with you, I can play you and you can be, in Michigan and I can be in California and we can be playing a game. So I just think that it's better than it was, but I think probably we have all loved playing games for a very long time.
oh yes, definitely.
Yeah, just
Definitely.
different kinds. So do we have a question here?
Yes, we do. Our first question is, why is gamification, no, what is gamification and why is it effective in education?
Well, I think because it makes it fun, right? I think it makes it fun. I think you can accrue points. I think you can get badges, right? Certificates, little things that say you are here, you won this. I think that's important. And I do think that the immediate feedback and the tracking of your progress, oh, look, you did right. I think that's helpful. So gamification is taking skills that you want kids to use and putting them in a format where it's fun and engaging. And you can have that gamification be for individuals, one on one, right? You and me, that's it. Or you could have it be for a team so that they were having to do things. And I've thought about, you could take them on so let's say that you wanted them to learn about national parks. You could take them on a scavenger hunt, right? Where they would have to, and you could make the name of a national park, Yellowstone National Park, Acadia National Park, Yosemite National Park, right? You could Crater Lake National Park. You could put those down, and then they would have to go online and find one fun fact about them on a scavenger hunt, and then come back and pull it all together. And that could be a lot of fun because they're getting to use the computer, which they like to do. They're getting to find out stuff about places that they don't know about, right? So you can make a game doing most anything. And I think that we just need to be I think we need to be focused on the fun, on the interaction, on the scorekeeping part of it, so that you can be a winner. So I don't know, what would you like to add to that about gamification?
So I just feel like, I think it works just because like youth are naturally they're just drawn to like playing in competitions. So it just turning it into a learn interactive lesson, which it works for them. Um,
Interaction's so important, right?
definitely.
It's otherwise you're just kind of there. So interaction, I think, really is helpful. Okay, do we have
Yeah.
another question?
Yes, we do. Our next question is, how can I design engaging educational games for youth?
So, one of the things that I like to do is to take a homework assignment. If you take, now I'm not talking about, you know how like sometimes kids will get a homework assignment and it's the only one you see on that topic? Well, maybe you don't want to do that one. But what if you see that the kids are having a lot of homework around multiplication? So you can take those worksheets and you can turn them into a game. You could turn them into a concentration game. Here's the math problem. You have to flip over the answer, and when you find the right answer, right, you get the match, and you can put them away. You could do a path game where when every place that you land, so a path board, right, that goes like this, and you roll the dice and you end up on a spot. And then there could be something to do. Maybe it's a vocabulary word that you have to define, or it's the capital of a state and you have to identify it because you're working in social studies, or it's a math problem and you have to identify, the correct answer. So you could create this path game. You could create a matching game, which would be like the concentration. You flip over the two cards and you get the ones that match. And then I think that you could also do like, you know how Donkey Kong is a climbing game? He climbs from one to the other and then gets whatever there. I think you could do something like that where you would have a series of activities to do, to climb. And if you can't do that, you slide back down, right? And then the prize would be whatever you decide the prize would be. It could be 5 extra minutes of recess. It could be anything, right? But I think that you can take worksheets and turn them into a game. And I think that's very possible. I do want to share this one website that I really like a lot, and it's free, which makes the price perfect. It's put out by the United Nations, and it's called Free Rice. And that's it, freerice.com. And if you're the person who goes in, if it were me and I'm going to play this game, it's a vocabulary building game. And so they'll give me a word and then they give me four possible meanings of that word. And I pick the one that's correct. And so that's my part. But the cool part about it is that every time I get a right answer, I put rice and vegetables into a bowl for the United Nations to send out to feed hungry kids.
It's
And so I could be learning myself, and I have to get a certain number of right answers before I have a bowl, right? A bowl full of rice and vegetables. But I could do that. And so I'm learning, I'm having fun because it's interactive, but I'm also doing something as a result of playing the game. There's the result and happy thing for me, but there's a bigger result in that I'm feeding kids, other kids in the world. So I think that educational games, I would use homework, and then I would find things and resources like free rice that are free for me. Kids can set up their own account so that they can do it anywhere, but there's a result beyond just what the key learning is. So those are two things that I think I would do to engage kids in educational games.
definitely. So I was just thinking too, like focus on the clear learning objective, like what they're trying
Mhm.
to learn.
Yeah.
They're also thinking about like science. So you can also create like science explore games where students like they unlock like new habitats by answering quiz questions
Oh,
about the
fun.
ecosystem.
Yeah, that's fun, right? So are you on an
Yeah.
island or are you in outer space like me? Haha.
Yeah.
We could create a game about that, right? And give hints and clues
There
because
you
we're
go.
definitely in two separate environments for sure.
Environments, definitely.
Because we're sitting in our homes in front of the computer. Yeah, that
Definitely.
makes total sense to me. What else do we have?
Mhm. So our next question is, what role does rewards and incentives play in gamification?
I think they play a big role, just like they do in life. You know, um, a lot of times what we say is that people should have intrinsic motivation. That means you're doing it just because you want to. And I get that. It would be nice if the world worked that way. But I'm going to guess that most of the people listening to this podcast, if people stop paying them, they'll stop working because that's the extrinsic motivator. Now they'll go find another job somewhere, right? Because that's part of the deal. So we all need some sort of an extrinsic motivation. I can only survive on my own desire for so long. So give points. Dojo points are something you can give for free. They don't, you can just track them on your phone, but you can give points. You can give stickers. You can provide these outside things that are physical that everybody's aware of, and they can tell your progress. And I do have to share this, and this is a true story. So my sister has a great granddaughter who just went to TK. Her name is Kamari. And Kamari is smart, for sure. And she is also very excited about being at school. And she discovered that the way you got stickers, which she really likes, is by misbehaving and then fixing your misbehavior. Then you get a sticker. So if I do something I shouldn't do and then I do it right, I get a sticker. So she decided that she would rather have stickers than just do the right thing all the time. Now, remember, she's 4. And so the teacher called her mom to say, uh, Kamari has figured out that in order to get a sticker, she has to do something wrong so that she can correct it and get something right, and she gets a sticker. And her mom said, well, obviously, what she wants is a sticker. So, how could you give her a sticker for doing something good and right from the beginning? Right? Well, that's what rewards do. And if you like them at 4 years old and what you want is a sticker, you're going to figure out how to get that sticker because that's what you want. And I think kids like that, right? They like awards. They like rewards. Bless you. They like having things that
Thank you.
say they did a good job. And if we can give that to them and build that into our gamification system, they won't need to figure out that they could do something bad so they could get a sticker for being good, right? Or whatever it is that they need to figure out. So I just think we need to build in that recognition and motivation so that kids are wanting to do things because it's exciting and there's rewards for them. So I'll now pitch
I
that to
agree.
you.
Yeah, I agree with that. In expanded learning, I know you mentioned dojo points, and that's a big that was like a big use that we used to incorporate in our or an app that we used to incorporate in our expanded learning. Um, and we used to do it by student or by class.
Hmm.
Like, uh, it was the rewards were really cool because some of the rewards were like, oh, you guys get to like choose the fun Friday activity for the week, or you guys get to go outside earlier than anybody the rest of the class. It came, yeah, we had really fun competitive like students in our expanded learning.
Hmm.
Um, and they would keep track of their dojo points. They were like, they would get they would get incentives as well because we used to have like a store, like a student store for them. That we'll have it open for them at least I want to say once a month. And they used to use fake money, but then we started incorporating dojo points, and so that's an app that truly helps a lot with gamification.
Right. And it's free, right? I mean, there is no cost for it. Yeah. And
Definitely
free
no
is a
cost.
good price, in my opinion,
The-
right? And
Yeah,
so
in today's
incentives, we
society.
all work. Yeah, we all do things
Mm.
because we're incentivized, right? And you don't ever know what the incentive that, like, if you told me I could go outside and play football, I probably wouldn't care so much. But if you told me that I got to go outside and visit with my friends, I might be all over that, right? So you have to make those incentives worth the kids' time. But I think we all work for incentives, right?
Oh yeah.
Even to go, yay, yippee, whatever.
Definitely. Our next question is, how can I use games to teach problem solving skills?
So I've never done this. but I've heard of people, they go into these, I don't know, are they called a survival room or whatever? And you have to
Escape
figure
rooms.
your way out. What's it called?
Escape rooms.
Escape rooms, right? And adults will go into these escape rooms, right? And obviously, you know that you're not really going to die in there, but they work together and they have to answer riddles and they have to do all these things, right? So they can escape the
Yes.
room. Well, I think that you could do some things around that with different tasks that kids need to do so that you can escape the room, right? And I think when we look at that, that's problem solving. How do I put this together step by step by step by step so that I get the end result, which is getting out of here, right? And in that game, that escape room, they have to actually get a key, but maybe they get a pretend key from you to get out the door, and it has to be done in a particular order. And so maybe would do clues that would say, um, that would, as they would unlock one thing, it would help them place the clue in a particular order. So let's say that there were 5 tasks that you needed to get done, and you can do them in any order, but you have to place the clues 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like they were designed, and then you get your key out. That could make doing homework, a science activity, an enrichment activity a lot more fun, right? So when I think about that, games that adults will play, that certainly is one that's a problem solving game, because you can't just get out because you want to. You have to get out because you've worked through the problems and the results of those problems and how you handled it so that you can earn your way out. So to me, I'm wondering about that kind of a thing, right, for problem
Oh
solving.
yeah.
Or you could do a problem solving where you present the problem. Here's Susie, and this is her situation. So how can you get her out of that situation? And I think that that could be very interesting too. But I think problem solving is not to be underestimated. Every day, all day, we face problems and challenges and things that don't go the way we would like for them to go, right? That get twisted and turned and all of those hundreds of things. So, teaching you how to go through and, one, identify the problem. What is it you're trying to accomplish? Two, what are all the possible solutions that you could apply? Or maybe number two would be, what would be a good solution? A good solution would see to it that this, and this happened, right? Then what are all the possible
Mhm.
ways of solving that? And you list all of those, and then you say, which one will best meet the needs of the entire group? And then you try it out, right? So problem solving has a format to do. We just need to plug in game type activities that require them to go through that format. So we'd want to teach them the format first, for sure, and then give them plenty of opportunities to practice when the stakes aren't so high that you're not surviving if you don't get out of it, but that you are able to continue to move forward. So I think that
Yeah,
that's what I'd say on problem solving.
definitely. I like that. You know, explainer learning, we had this game, True Crime, and
Oh,
we used to play that on, yeah, the kids used to play that on Fun Fridays, and they would get really competitive because they would get in groups and they would try to find like who was the killer, and like
right. Who
it
done
was an
it?
interesting game. Yeah, and you can get that game. I believe we got that game on Amazon. It's just called True
True,
True Crime Story.
true crime
True
story.
Crime.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so
something like
there are things out there that can, and I think there is a platform that's also free that's called The Gift. Uh, and I'll be happy to share that information with them. But it is all, and it's free, and it's all about solving for the future problems. Here's the problem, and you have to create something that will solve this problem. And they kind of do it like with tarot cards, where okay, here's the problem, here's information you need, and then come up with your solution. And that is on the Gift platform, and you can log on to that at any time, and you can sign up to get those things for free. And there it's all about conundrums. If you go down this path, here's the good things, but here's the bad things. If you go down this path, here are the good things and the bad things. Here, right? Because life is a conundrum. And it's fun
Yeah.
and the kids get really engaged and revved up about it. And like I said, free is such a great price.
Always.
Always, always, always.
Our next question is, how can I integrate gamification into academic lessons?
Did you ever when you were in school play the game Around the World?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Isn't that
Yes.
gamification and an academic skill? Because the way
Oh yeah.
you play that is you go and stand, there's a path, right, of people. And if you're it to start, you go and stand behind one person, then they show a flashcard, and whoever gets the right answer gets to move on, right? Isn't that how that works?
Yes.
And the idea
Yes.
is for you to make it all around through everybody and back to your home spot. And so when I was thinking about this thing, this whole issue of gamifying academics, right? That to me was a great way of doing what I would call the more rote, the right or wrong answer type thing, right? Now, there's a lot of things that where the answers aren't so clearly right or wrong, right? They would be more up to your discretion. But playing around the world is a game that I played when I was a kid, right? And you would try and know the answer quicker, quicker, faster than the person that you were playing against. So I think that you could do that in academic lessons. I think that also because I think we do more collaboration now than we used to do. You could have a team collaboration, right? That where they would be answering questions together and come up and then show and then maybe switch them and see if the other person could rebuild what you did based on the steps you took. That would certainly make it more game-like. And I think that there are many what I would call icebreaker activities that you can do that create energy. There's one, have you ever done the human knot? Is that one you've ever
Yes.
done? Yeah, right.
Yes, I have.
And so you start out in a circle, and this is where you have to return. And then you stand in that same circle and cross your arms, taking the hand, and you have to figure out how to get back exactly like you were. And it's always funny to me because so in the beginning, you're facing all to the center, right? And then the very first thing to do is whip it around, and now you're facing out. Well, that's fine, but you're not back like you started, right? So you have to go back in and you have to problem solve. And there's an academic piece of that, I think, in communicating with another person exactly what you want them to do to make it work. And so just remember that academic supports math, it supports English language arts, it can support social studies, it can support science, but you can do all kinds of things to help them work together in a team so that they can do those academic pieces together as a team more effectively. And so I think that those
Uh,
can go hand in glove.
That I like that.
So I'll
I would
push it back to you.
yeah, I know. I like what you said, like you can integrate like the point systems and like or progress tracking.
Mhm.
That's for groups. Um I know we do with that a lot in expanded learning for with our students. When we do group games, like we do the progress we do like progress charts and like I said, we also do
Mhm.
use Dojo. Dojo is
Uh,
one of the best apps, honestly, for that
Absolutely. And
to keep
tracking
track of
progress, right? So then it's over a month. How many points can we accumulate in a month? Not how many, okay, we played a game, we're done, right, and off. So that you can
things.
actually stretch that out. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That makes total sense to me.
Oh yeah. Next question is, how can I address resistance to gamified learning activities?
So, you know, um, I guess I want to say this as a precursor. To me, it's really important that we make agreements with kids on how we're going to work together as a team. And we usually think of those agreements around safety, respect, and responsibility, right? I mean, that's what we think of. I believe that there could be just one agreement that would take care of all of those. And I think that agreement would be around have fun. Because if you aren't safe, you can't have fun. If you're not respectful, everybody can't have fun. If you're not responsible, everybody can't have fun. But nobody is going to buy into an agreement about have fun, right? They're resistant to that because they need to be safe, they need to be respectful, they need to be responsible. Yes, I agree with that. But I think have fun covers them all. But when you get that resistance, so that same resistance happens when you say, learning is fun. You don't have to make it a game. You don't, right? They're resistant to that because for them, just the learning of new stuff is fun. And I think that learning new stuff is fun too. But I also like a reward once in a while. I like to go on my phone and play word games. I like to go on my phone to play Color Me, right? I like that. And I'm rewarded immediately for accomplishing what I set out to accomplish. So I think that the resistance to gamification comes from a mindset that even though they may not know it, believes that if it's fun, it can't be learning. And I don't think that's the case. I think learning is fun. I think that things don't have to be boring. I don't think that things have to be, this rote memorization. I think that learning can be fun, and I do think that gamification helps that to happen. And just a simple question: if you were in an environment where you could learn whatever the topic is by sitting down and reading a document and answering multiple choice questions and taking a quiz, or you could learn that same information on a scavenger hunt or playing a game where it's a match game or getting out of a room where you've been trapped, which would you prefer? Well, I am not picking sitting there reading and filling in the blanks. I'm going to pick something that's active and dynamic and will engage me in different ways. And I don't think kids are any different than we are. I think that kids want the same thing. I just think that we got it twisted somewhere that learning can't be fun. Learning
Oh
needs to
yeah.
look this way. No, it doesn't. Learning
Definitely.
can be a great deal of fun. So I don't know what you'd
Definitely.
like to add to that, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, I would just like to keep it like, just simple, like make sure that the games are like age appropriate. Because some of them can be a little
Sure.
bit yeah, some of them can be a little bit too easy or too childish for older students. So just make sure like there's something that they're gonna be interested in. And if you know that they're like they're if you know that if the students do say that they dismiss the game because of child, just frame it as a team strategy challenge instead of a competition.
Hmm.
Just like switch the narrative.
Absolutely. You know, there are three R's in after school. And the first and that was really very foundational in the beginning. These three R's. And the first R is relationships. So games need to allow you to be in relationship with others, right? Because we all like that. So that may be why we're cooperating together. It may be why we're competing as teams, whatever, but we're in relationship. The second is it has to be relevant to them. It has to be meaningful. It has to be something they want to do. It's something they want to play. It's right. It's exciting. And the third one, which is what reminded me of the three R's when you spoke to that, is rigor. It needs to be hard enough to be challenging and easy enough to be doable, right? And that's the balance you're
Yes.
looking for. I don't want it to be so easy that you can go and it's done. But I also don't want you to have to come back 6 months later and go, still haven't figured it out, right? So with gamification, it finds that balance, I think, between
Yes.
challenging enough and easy enough, which I think is not an, I think that's hard to really pick that balance. But I think gamification really does make that possible.
Definitely.
Yep.
Our next question is, how can I use role-playing games to teach empathy?
So, uh, role-playing games are about being in somebody else's shoes, right? And so I think that we want to think about the role playing per se. So, what you can come up with are scenarios. And so you can ask the kids for scenarios as well. Tell us sometime when you were sad, you were unhappy, you felt grief, right? All of those things. You felt confused, you felt frustrated. So all of those emotions that you can feel, have kids identify for you a scenario in which they felt that way, right? And then you can distribute those scenarios to kids without the other person's name on it, right? But you just put them together randomly, and you can have a team of two or three decide how they would show this person that they were concerned or cared, right? Because empathy is about being in another person's shoes, but it's also about sitting with them while they find their own solution. Too often we try and solve everybody's problems. It's not about that. It's about showing genuine concern. If you're familiar with the 7 habits of highly effective people, it's the habit where you seek first to understand before being understood. You want to understand where the other person is coming from. And so when I think about empathy and games and role play, right? The game is, here's the situation. How can we resolve this? It's thinking that through, but it's also identifying the person could be feeling this or this or this or right, all of those. How do we deal with that and working that through in collaboration? Because I think that role play prepares you for real life without having to have the experience of real life, if that makes sense, right? I don't have to lose my dog to understand how it feels to somebody to lose their dog and what would be helpful words and actions that I could take. And so I think that having kids create kid leveled scenarios, that when was the time you felt frustrated, what was going on, when was the time you felt sad, that kind of thing, and then bringing them to the group would be really helpful on teaching empathy, which is being willing to sit with you while you struggle and are in pain and not try and fix you. And that's hard because we all want to fix everybody. But my fix is not your fix. My fix is my fix. It doesn't mean it'll fix for you. So
That's right.
that's what I think with role play.
I like that. That was really well answered.
Yeah,
Um,
it's hard too, right? The scenarios are hard. You can make them up yourself, but the best ones come from kids because they've lived it.
there you go. First person.
Yep.
So our next question is, how can I use gamification to reinforce positive behavior?
Well, I guess the simple way would be for every 10 minutes you meet agreements, you get 2 minutes of computer time to play a game. You know what I mean? I think that you can reinforce positive behavior. And I think we can use dojo points for sure. But X number of dojo points, uh, you get to do, you get to make a choice over here out of these games that you can play, whether that's a board game or Mancala or a video game or doesn't matter which the vehicle for presenting the game. But if you earn points, if you do what you need to do, you can accumulate these points so that you can go to this activity, uh, which will reinforce your behavior choices. And I think that, I don't know about you, but I can make many bad choices in a day. So if I get rewarded for making a good choice, that's helpful, and I'll be more likely to make the same good choice the next time.
I agree on that.
Yeah.
So I would just say, like create like a behavioral tracking system. like
Hmm.
you said, like you mentioned, like dojo points or even badges
Hmm.
is something that like to keep them like motivated.
Right. Right. And wanting it, and it makes it fun, right? Ooh, look. And think about Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. Well, think about generals in the army, right? We love those little badges that say they stand for something. Think
Oh
about
yeah.
the last, so when they had the gathering of all the generals in Washington, D.C. in early October, they didn't come dressed in Hawaiian shirts. They came in uniform with all those badges, right? And so if a badge can mean something to a general who is quite accomplished, why can't it mean something to a Girl Scout or a Boy Scout who collects all these badges? And why can't then badges be important to somebody who's not in any of those organizations? Right? I think badging, that's a sign, right? Even if your badge for Kamari, her badge was a sticker. That's what she wanted. Her badge was a sticker that said, "You did a good thing today." And so stickers can be badges, can be, right? And I think we need to think about what those badges can be. But I think we also need to recognize that we all like stickers, metaphorically,
Yes.
right?
Next question. What are effective tools or apps for implementing gamification?
Well, I certainly think dojo points for sure. And we've talked
Uh,
about dojo
Top of the
points.
list.
And you go on and you can track them that way. I'm not sure of any other way to track points that's quite as easy and as effective as dojo points, but I'm sure that you could figure out a system to track them on Google Sheets, right? Which would be by each kid, you could put in X number of points for the day, but that would require you to do more data entry than to simply click a button, which is what you do in
Mm.
Dojo Points. But it's the same concept, right? That you create a database that can be cumulative over time that will add up the number of points that you have that you've earned. And so, but I really don't know of one. And I'm not saying they're not out there. I'm sure that they are out there. But the one I am most familiar with, that's the easiest to access on your phone. You go in, so isn't well, maybe the process is that you go in and you input the names of, you make your class, then you go in and input their names, right? And not maybe first and
Yes.
last, maybe just initials or first name. And then you go in and every time you want to plug in a point for them, you give it to them, right?
That's that simple.
Yeah. And so
Definitely is that
once you've
simple.
set it up, it's easy. The setup
Yes.
takes
So
the
that's a good
setup
one.
time, how much
Yeah. So
time for
that's
20 kids?
Yeah, so that is definitely a good one just for keeping track of behavior and rewards. I was also thinking like I know a lot of people already incorporate this one, which is Kahoot and quizzes. And that'd be more for
Hmm.
like interactive quizzes. There's this
Hmm.
other one that just came out not too long ago, which is called Minecraft Education Edition, which is
Okay.
for creative and problem solving projects. And that one's used Minecraft, and Minecraft is a very, very popular game in the kids
Yes, it
world right now.
is. Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
so
And then
that's
Kahoot. How does Kahoot work?
Oh, with Kahoot's pretty so you create a quiz and then you put it on the you put it out on let's say you put it on the board and then it's online and just everybody goes to Kahoot and they just write the code and then they enter it in there with their name and then the teacher the staff they just hit play and then the kids would just answer the questions and the quiz questions and then whoever answers them the like fast or like the first ones they get more points than the rest and then it's just yeah so it's just like
Okay.
a very interactive, very competitive too, because you get to see like who's going to win and who's on top
Okay. And
in
is
real
that
life.
a
Same.
free program?
Oh yeah, 100% free.
Yeah. So Kahoot, uh, Dojo points, right?
Yeah,
So look for
yeah.
those
And
things.
there's
And
so
then Minecraft School, is that what you said? Minecraft what?
Minecraft Education Edition.
Okay. Because boy, I
Yeah.
do know that my grandkids love to play Minecraft. Love it. And they'll play as a
Mhm.
team on two separate tablets, right? And they love it a lot. So I can think that would be
Yes.
very highly motivating to get Minecraft points. All right, so
Oh yeah.
there's three suggestions of ways you can do it. All right.
Yes. Our next question is, how can I balance fun and learning in gamified activities?
So I guess for me, I have this fundamental belief that learning is fun, right? So I don't think they're separate. I think that when you learn how to do something, you feel good about that, right? It's rewarding. And if you've had to struggle a little bit, you really feel good about it, right? Better than when you just it's easy, one and done, and there's no there's no problem there. It just happens. So I guess I don't see the difference between fun and learning. But I can also see how you might make an activity just focus on the fun and you didn't set it up to have any learning in it. So I think when you're setting up activities that are going to be gamified, that what you want is to be sure that there is a learning objective in there, that you know something that you want. Maybe it's for the lesson itself. And I think we've talked about this before, but I see lesson design happening on three levels. The first level is you do this activity and what do you get from it? So let's go back to free rice, right? With free rice, you go in, you learn the vocabulary words. That's for you. That's what happens for you. Okay? The next level, which is really a habit of mind, that I am an asset provider, not just an asset taker. And when I learned those words, what I did is I gave back to the world and I gave food. So that's the second level. It's the habits of mind. It's how you interact in the world. So with that lesson, I've covered what's in it for the learner, which is new vocabulary. What's in it, what's the bigger picture? It's feeding the hungry. And then I think the third level is how does that tie in with what we're trying to do? If what we're trying to do is level the playing field so that every kid, no matter where they were born, under what circumstance, it doesn't matter, they have an opportunity to become who they were meant to be. That's the level field. I don't want somebody I love to be able to play the trumpet because I could afford for them to take lessons. I want every kid who wants to play trumpet. Not just my kid, every kid that wants to do that. Now, if you don't want to play trumpet, you want to play flute, I'm fine with that. Then I want you to have every opportunity to play flute. If you don't want to play any instrument at all, I'm fine with that as well. But I think that we do these opportunities to level uh, playing fields, right? And so I think that it's important that we carry that over, right, into the world that we're working with, and that we help them understand that you can learn from a game as much as you can learn from a non game. I can maybe learn more from a game than I could if I just read about it and thought about it and answered some questions. So I guess I probably have a little bias about fun and learning because I do think learning is fun. I love it every time I learn something. And I think we can make it that way for kids too. That there is fun in becoming closer to who you were meant to be.
There you go. Like that.
Yep. So I think we have time
I've,
for one more, right?
yes, yes.
Okay. So
The
sock
last,
it to us.
so the last question is gonna be, what role does competition play in gamification? Ooh.
Ooh, right. Well, we say we don't like competition, and yet we sit glued to the TV every Sunday to watch football, right? We do like
Mhm.
competition. We like watching competition. We like participating in competition, but most of all, we like winning. right?
There you go.
We like to be able to say we won. And so when I think about competition, competition can be in a variety of ways. I can compete against myself. Okay, I was able to do 2 pull-ups. I'm going to work really hard for the next month, and now I can get higher than that and I can do 4 pull-ups, right? I've competed against me. So I don't think competition always has to be about somebody else, right? I can compete against my standard. This was me at my best, and now I'm going to work for a month and I'm going to have a new best, and I'm going to continue to climb up that way. So that's one way I think that we can do that, and have kids compete against themselves, not anybody else. Another thing I think we can do is have you can have an individual person compete against another individual person. I personally would like to avoid that. And the reason I would is because I have pecking rights then against you. Well, do you remember when I beat you? Do you remember when right? And I think that it's harder for that competition to not get ugly. But I do like it when a group of 2 or 3 pair against a group of 2 or 3, right? And they can be in competition because it's if I'm part of a group of 3 and we all lose together, that's less, I think, making me feel awful about me, and we can talk as a group and we can decide how we can do better the next time. And then I think the other thing that happens when you compete is this: you can be a lousy loser and you can be a lousy winner. And I do not, I think that both of those behaviors are not cool. So part of competition is teaching you how to be a graceful, not that you love it, but a graceful loser, that you can be happy for the other person, that you can be happy for the other team, right? And then I
Yes,
think that you have to learn how to win and not be going, yay, me, I'm all this and you're nothing, right? Which I think is equally horrible. So I think that when you have competition, it can be individual, it can be small group against small group, it can be team against team. You can learn from it, you can debrief it, you can go through all of that. But I think it's also important to teach kids how to be good losers and good winners, and not to the point where I want to lose so I can get a sticker, but that I get it, that losing's okay, but no
yes,
13th
definitely.
place trophies, right? That's enabling. So
That's funny.
yeah, well, for sure. Do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, so just it's true what you said. Like you gotta focus on growth and not winning for most of the time with when kids are competing. Um, I would say like encourage students to be their personal best and not just others.
Yeah,
That's the whole point.
yeah. And if I'm my personal best and you're better than me, oh well,
Yeah.
right? I can
Well,
live with that.
definitely.
Because I can assure you that I cannot throw a football as far as you, and no matter how much I worked, it wouldn't happen. But I can be happy for you and be satisfied that I'm getting better within my realm, right? Of my
Yes.
comfort zone, of my flexibility. All right.
There
Well,
you
so
go.
it's time for us to say goodbye to these fine folks and appreciate the
Yes.
fact that you've shared with us. And Robert, I'll pitch it to you to finish us off.
I still like to say thank you for joining us once again to Doctors and Coaches podcast. We're happy to have you guys here. If you guys have any comments, or when you have any comments or questions, you guys can put them down in the comment section. If you guys would like any like worksheets or anything on this topic, gamification, you guys can put your email in the comments, and Dr. Cindy Sanders will send you guys an email with like an activity for this. And thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much. Take good care.